Hey friends, thanks for clicking on the video. Welcome to the channel. I'm Janine and I am on a journey to discover health and happiness in my 50s. In today's video, it's going to be a little bit different, very health related. As you can tell by the title, I have some rare cockamamie allergy that hasn't stopped me. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about exercise induced anaphylaxis. This is not exercise-induced asthma. They're totally different things, but we'll get into that in a little bit. For now, I just want to tell you what happened to me, my story, how I overcome it, and how I keep exercising. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is an allergy that I've had since about 2006. I was very active. I've always been pretty active most of my life. I was a dancer when I was young, gymnast when I was even younger than that, and I worked out after I stopped dancing. So I would either go for a run or a spin class. I was bowling. I mean, I was just having a ball with myself. So I would start to feel this kind of like itchy, scratchy in my eyes and in my throat after about 30 minutes with into an exercise, whether it was going for a run or, like I said, spin class. Spin class was pretty prevalent during that time. My sister and I were going to the Y probably at least 4 to 6 times a week and taking an hour spin class. And all of a sudden, it seemed I started having this reaction. It kind of came out of nowhere, but once it was there, it was not fun. Man, my hair is having a day. That was way off topic. So it had been happening for a couple months. My family knew about it. I was trying to get with an allergist and have all of these blood tests done to try to figure out what the heck I was allergic to. I did, as a matter of fact, it was this one particular day, it was in December of 2006. I had gone to the doctor. They took 21 vials of blood from me and tested me for everything. Well, that afternoon, I went to spin class with my sister at the Y. At the time, my son was about 4 or 5 years old. And about 30 minutes into the class, it started happening again. I could just kind of feel this itchy, scratchy throat. And so I told my sister, you know, it's happening again. I'll see you at home. I'm out. So I left the spin class. I got my stuff together and I went to the little daycare to pick up my son. And I'm waiting. And as I'm waiting, I can feel the intensity start to ramp up. Things were starting to swell. I could feel my throat getting hard to swallow. So we get out to the parking lot and I start, you know, things start closing up. My eyes start swelling shut. My nose and my mouth and my throat and my tongue starts to feel like it's swelling. So for 2 reasons, I sent my son back into the gym. We were gym rats there. Everybody knew us there. They all knew him. They all, you know, knew our family. So I didn't feel horrible about sending him back in there by himself to go and get my sister, which he did. He was such a trooper and I was so proud of him. But mainly because I didn't want him to see me pass out. I started to throw up and I started to feel like I was going to pass out. So one of the girls at the front desk came back out with my sister and my son. We called 911. That's the first time I've ever been in an ambulance, ever. 911, the emergency came. to the parking lot, explained to them what was going on, explained that we didn't really have a diagnosis yet, but here's kind of what's happening with the allergies and whatever. So they put an IV and they loaded me up with like Benadryl, epinephrine, and antihistamines. About 2 hours later, I was fine. I still had a lot of swelling, in my face, but that went down within a day or two. And then at that point, I really decided that it was time to get some real answers. So I looked up, we lived in Florida at the time, and I looked up the best allergy doctor, because the allergy doctor that had taken those 21 vials of blood told me I was allergic to dogs, cats, and horses. No kidding. I have had dogs and cats and horses all my life. But it didn't make sense as to why this was all of a sudden happening. But I managed it by taking a Benadryl before or during a workout, which if you've ever worked out on Benadryl, it's not optimal. It's not fun. You don't get the best workout, but if I wanted to keep working out, that's what I was going to have to do. So that's what I did. Shortly after that, I would say, weeks after that, I ended up arranging an appointment with a doctor in Tampa at the University of Tampa. And he was supposedly a specialist for this condition that I didn't know that I had, exercise induced anaphylaxis. There is no asthma involved. There's no wheezing. I didn't feel any tightness in my chest. It was all, anaphylactic shock related. I went to, we drove up to Tampa. I lived in Fort Lauderdale at the time, so it was a few hours drive, but we got to that doctor in Tampa, and I wasn't in his office for 5 minutes, and he said, "This is what you have. I don't know where it came from, but it's exercise-induced anaphylaxis. Here's, you need to take a Zyrtec." And at that point, Zyrtec was a prescription, so you couldn't get it over the counter way back then. Zantac, which was a stomach medicine. Again, prescription. I couldn't get it over the counter. Now I can, so no big deal. What he explained to me was that this allergy was technically a food allergy, but it wasn't that I was allergic to the food, to any specific food. I was allergic to the histamines that my body created when I had food in my stomach and my heart rate was raised. So I could eat no problem, or I could exercise on an empty stomach, no problem, that's what I do today. All this time later, I take my medicine in the morning, I work out in the morning before I eat, and I have not had any problems since then. So exercise-induced anaphylaxis is a pretty rare condition. They say anywhere between 5 to 15% of all anaphylactic shock episodes are exercise-induced anaphylaxis. So it's not very common. I tell people that I'm allergic to exercise, and they laugh, but it's true, kind of. But the people that do have this, and there's a couple of different variations of it. Some people, it's a specific food that triggers the reaction. In all the cases, really, though, it's whatever food is in your stomach that you're allergic to causes a reaction when your heart rate is raised, when you exercise. For some people, it's 10 minutes. For me, it's about 30 minutes, and honestly, I swear I can time it. When I'm 27 minutes in, I can start to feel the reaction coming on. So, but for some people it's, wheat, and for some people it's shellfish, things like that. Once I found a way to manage it, it was fine. I, didn't have any problems at all. I continued to run, and as a matter of fact, I ended up running a half marathon in 2012. I was pretty proud of myself for that. I can put some pictures of what it was like. It was a fantastic time. But if you do any kind of long distance activity, your body needs fuel. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do any eating while I was running. So I got these little, and of course now they have all kinds of things. They have, you know, all kinds of gels and things like that. And they had those things back then, but I was afraid to try any of it. So during my training runs, when I got to the longer ones, I started using those little honey packets from McDonald's. So I got a bunch of those. I stuck them in my little fanny pack on race day, and it did great. I had a great time. I didn't have any, you know, obvious allergies. I finished in 3 hours and 6 minutes, which for a first time was pretty, you know, commendable, I guess you could say. Of course, I took a Benadryl, you know, and I had Benadryl with me just in case. I do carry an EpiPen. My family knows how to use it. Anytime I go exercising with a friend, even if we just go for a walk, I will bring it and I will, you know, tell them how to use it. And, but honestly, I have not had an episode since about mid-2007. So I think I've got it pretty well under control. Honestly, I can feel, so when I take my medicine in the morning, or if I forget to take my medicine in the morning, by about 3 o'clock, I start to feel like, you know, that itchy, scratchy, cold feeling, you know, like behind your eyes. And I'm like, uh-oh, I forgot to take my medicine today. And I'll go take it. But I have not had an actual anaphylactic shock episode since then. So that's how I deal with it. I know it's a rare allergy condition, whatever you want to call it. There's a few things out on the internet about it. WebMD doesn't have anything in relation to exercise-induced anaphylaxis. They do have exercise-induced asthma. And again, like I said, it's not the same thing. There's no tightness in my chest. There's no wheezing. It is 100% like anaphylactic shock. So I manage it. I've overcome it. I exercise anyway. I do CrossFit. That's kind of like my style. Actually, I do street parking. I know I've mentioned it to you guys before. I can do a video on what street parking is, but honestly, just go to streetparking.com. They're amazing. They have Facebook, Instagram, and you can really find out a lot of information about street parking. So that's what I do. That's how I manage it. I just figured it would be interesting to kind of fill you guys in on some of the struggles that I've overcome in my health journey so far. And thanks for listening. I hope you guys have a good day.